So we are here today again to do another session of live coding in Twitch about the interface X components. And today we are going to keep working on my history component. As you know, the ones that you were here, the last sessions, we were working the first one about doing that keyboard, Beltran, is very high.
Sorry.
We were doing one session about having my history component with all the queries, not just some of them, and then we did another session about enabling and disabling the history queries. And today we are going to do a session where we're going to try to provide the my history component of a new visualization, which is to group the history queries by date. Because to meet this design that we have here, the GitHub issue, as you can see here, these queries are grouped by date. So in the current view, the histories are not, the queries are not grouped. So to do a solution for this, we are going to create a computed property that runs the history queries group, then a new type to store that data, and then to change the company to show the history queries in the group. And also we do customization or configuration to provide the locale to format the timestamp according to the language. So after this introduction, now I just am going to leave Beltran to lead the session and show you how we are going to do this. Thank you very much. All yours, Beltran.
Okay, thank you, Gerard. I think that we are going to have a problem with my keyboard because I think it's too noisy. Can you hear if I type? If not, I can change to the MacBook One. It's noisy.
Now it's okay. I think I listened to you quite
If not,
decently.
maybe I can change to the MacBook microphone. And maybe we'll do it.
No, now it's go ahead. If we feel that you're very noisy, mechanical noisy, I will be worried.
Okay. So let's start. As Gerardo said, we already have a component that shows history queries. But for this task, what we want is to group all these history queries by date. So first of all, I'm going to show you a component that we have right now, the history queries. And after that, I will show you the new one. Okay. Let me run the serve, and I will show you a live example of what we have now. It's building. This is okay. Let's open application. If I click on start, here you can see the history queries. Right now we have a few of them because the history queries component can shift the number of history queries. So here we are only showing 5 of them. What we are going to do for this task is show the complete history queries, but grouping them by the date. So to start working on this, we already have my history component. This component will be the component that we want to add the logic. It's a copy from the history queries, so it has to be the same. So first of all, I'm going to change the component that we are using right now. If I'm going to the predictive layer here, this is the component that we are rendering now. As you can see here, we have the prop to shift the number of queries that we are showing. So I'm gonna comment it, and I will import the history component. So if everything is right, I mean, if we copy right the component, it should be the same. We should be seeing the same things. Okay, I'm gonna import it here. History. I'm sorry, it's already imported at the beginning. So I reveal this. We should see the same component here. Yeah, but as you can see here, we are not shifting the the results. Instead of having 5, we have the complete list. So with this component, what we are going to do right now is we are going to create a new object. Okay, because what we want is to group the history queries by date. And the structure that we want to achieve is something like this. I'm gonna here an example. Okay. Imagine that we want to have something like this. Okay. We have the new history queries. History queries by date, and this will be an object. In this case, the object will be different. Right now, the history queries are objects made by history queries, so it's an array made by multiple objects. And what we are going to have here is we want to create a property, a key of this object that will be the date. So, for example, the key will be something like today is April. And for this key, what we want here is to have an array of words like we have in the past, like this one. So the model for the history query is I have a timestamp query. Check here. So well, anyways, I will add here a query that will be Lego, for example. The timestamp that will be a random number. It's an example. Model name should be history query. For this entry, we will have multiple history queries. Okay, so I have problems with the comments, but anyways, what we want to achieve is to have something like this. Okay, the principal key will be the date, and what this key will have inside will be the history queries that match with that date. For that, we will use this timestamp. So we will have multiple entries with different dates, Monday, blah, 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 and the year, whatever. And yeah, we will have multiple of them. Okay. So how can we achieve that? To achieve that, we are going to create a computer, a computer property that will be something like history queries. Queries grouped by, I don't know how to type, sorry. Date. Okay, so each computer has to return this new structure. So to achieve that, we are going to go to here. Right now we have the history queries in the component. Here we are getting them from the state of the module. So here we are going to set history. I think that I'm having problems with the example We try to fix the comments.
I think you have to add an empty line before the example.
Here.
Yeah. And remove the
Not. But I will. I think
You-
that I
you-
have
you
a problem
remove
also with this.
the example you put in the 86 line, the example you wrote there, you can remove that.
I'm having a problem also with the. With this one. But I will take off the example. Okay. What else?
Just remove that. Yeah. Or remove it. Okay.
Okay. I don't know why this is happening here. But anyways, we will continue with this. Sorry, this has to be public. And what we are going to do here is return the history course. I don't know if the problem is with this one. It's not testing things. Because it's not suggesting me things. I don't know why. But anyway, I will continue with this. Okay, we are going to look through these history queries. Okay, we want to create the new structure that is the one that we have previously. Okay, I remove it. Get me back to this code. Okay, so we want to have this code. Okay, so for that I'm going to use reduce. Okay, because we are going to use it to create the new structure. And we will start with an empty object because the new structure will be an object, as you can see here. And well, the first parameter of the reduce is the accumulator. That is the thing that you are going to pass through the loop, and also the current value. So in each iteration, you are getting one of the elements and the final element that we are creating. So just to return it right. Okay, so what we are going to do here, we are looping through the history queries, and for each of the history queries, like this one or this one, we want to get the timestamp and convert that timestamp to a real date. So for that, I'm going to create here a new date using that timestamp. Wait, here I'm having problems with the types, I think so, because here is not. I'm gonna cast this. The reduce will be a record of a string because the new object, the first element will be a string, and the second element will be a history query. All right.
If you add that type to the signature of the history query group by date property, maybe it auto infers the
Here.
Yeah, maybe it infers the type of the reduce.
Like that.
Yeah, we have the
Okay, remove this one. I don't know what's happening here. If I set what's happening with my
I don't know why your
TypeScript is not working.
I don't know why.
Give me 1 sec.
Try closing the file and opening it again, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's that.
Maybe Western is lagging.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, there you are. I think you can remove the argumented review now.
Okay, so what we are going to do is to transform this timestamp to a real date. And for that, we are creating a new object, a new date, passing the timestamp. And we are going to convert it to a local data string. And this function have multiple parameters. The first one is the local. In this case, I'm gonna hard code it to English. Local is for to transform the date to a different language. I mean, it's not the same to show a date in Spain or in France or other country. So it has to be done for each country. And the second part is some configuration about how to show the day, the month, the year, more things. So here, I'm gonna show the day as a number. The weekday, I'm gonna show it as a long. Long is for the long name. I mean, you can abbreviate the name, but in this case, we want the whole name for the weekday. The month, the same. We will be using the long. And for the year, we are going to use the mark. Okay. So right now we have a date. This date should have should look something similar to the one that we saw before, like this one. Monday, something like this. Okay. And what we are going to do is adding this to the accumulator. So if I can create a new entry on the accumulator, for that I will be doing this, fetching to the index of the date. With that, I will be creating a new entry on the object. But if there is no exist that entry, it will create a new one, and if it exists, it will access to the same key. So what we want to do here is we want to transform the timestamp to a date, and then assign to that new entry that we are going to create the history query. Okay, so we will assign to that date the history query, but with this we are going to override the previous values. Why? Because if we do this, we will have something like and this will be an array where the element will be something like this. Okay? I know this is not combined, but anyway, if we're accessing to the date and we are assigning a value, if we want to add more values to this, we cannot do that, because every time that we match the same date, we are going to assign to that date a new value instead of concatenating all the items. So how can we solve that? Here we can create a new right. What we are going to do is to take all the previous values that are inside of the accumulator for that date with the spread operator. Like this. Okay. And if there are no values, I'm gonna add nothing, and I will concat with the current value. I think here I have a problem with the splint. Okay. Yes, I have a click here. Avoid that. I think that I have to.
Yeah, you can either do it there or in the 97 line using a type assertion.
If I do it here, I think that it's going to solve the problem. I type the values. Okay, anyway. Finally, we will have a new object, okay, where the key will be the date. And for each date, every time that we have an existing date in the new object, we are going to take the previous values for that date, and we will concatenate with the new one. Okay, so this is what we are doing here. We're taking the previous values. If there are no previous values, we are creating a new entry, and we will assign the current value. Okay, so with this, I think that we are already creating the new structure with the data. I think that we can go here to test it. I think that this is going to fail or not. No. Okay, if I go here to...
I think you're not using this computer yet.
Yeah, but I'm going to show it in the...
Oh, yeah, the view.
Check it in the view.
Okay.
Okay, so here I can go to the component to check if the computer is working properly. So let me change here rendering. Okay. Okay. So here we have the my history component. And here you can see that we have two computers. The first one is the history queries, the normal one, I mean, the whole history queries, but without being grouped by timestamp. And here we have the new compute. So as you can see here, we have for each of we have the different entries, and for each entry we have the history queries. So each of these queries are from these days. So, for example, for Monday we have these 5 queries. From today we have these 7, and from this day we have 1. Okay. So right now we have the the new structure that we want. Okay, so this looks nice, I think. Okay, so what we want to do now? If we follow the example, well, I just want to say that we are not going to reproduce the same styles or things. We are just trying to replicate the logic, and in the future we will work in the styles. So for this component, here we are already rendering a list of history queries, and our new object has a history queries, but with a date. I mean, we will have a date, but inside this date, we will have a list of history queries. So how can we change this component, the one that we use? For that, maybe we can look through this new compute. Okay, so I'm going to create a new list here, wrapping the previous page suggestion. Okay, and creating here the element. Okay, so what we have to do here? We want to look through the new computer. Okay, so in this list, we are going to look through this compute. Okay, we are getting from the computed the list and the date. Okay, so I do this history queries by date. Okay, I think I need a key. So here we are looping through the different elements from this computer. And here we have the list. The list is it's the history queries that we have inside this key. Okay. And the date is this key. Okay, so we have the date and the list of history queries for that date. So here we are going to show, for example, the date, because we want to show the title, I mean the header for that, like this. We want to show this element, and below this header we want to show all the history queries. So I'm gonna print here the dates. And the list that we are going to render is the new history queries. So instead of rendering the previous history queries, we are going to set to this base suggestion the current list for that date. And if everything is right, I think that we should be seeing the different elements. So as you can see here, we already have a title that is showing the date, and below the date we are showing the history queries for that date. So I think that's more or less what we want to achieve. Okay, what else? As you can see here, this is something like a modal or something that is appearing over the layer. So you can change that, because right now we are showing them inside of the empathize. That is this layer. Okay, so what we are going to do now is just to create a button that opens this layer and show the complete history queries. Okay, so where we use my history component, we are going to create a new element. Well, I'm going to add it here, but maybe we will have to find a best place to place it. But well, we have a component that is called base modal events, base events modal open. Okay, that is a modal component that will be opened by events. I mean, if we can listen different events, and we can open the modal based on that event. So I'm gonna create a this is the button. Okay, base events modal open my history query. Okay, this is the button that is going to emit the event to open the modal. Well, then the events are already defined in the default implementation of this component. Second one, we are going to create the modal. Okay, so this modal is going to receive the different events that we're going to have to close this modal or to open it. In this case, we are going to close the modal with different events. So I'm gonna here user selected history query. Okay, and inside this event modal, what we are going to show is the history. well, I have to import this component, I think so. Right here. Let's see, it's already imported. Events model. So here we should have a button to open the history. Sorry. Okay. As you can see, it doesn't have the right style, so I'm gonna fix it. Adding just a background here. We have some styles to add. So I can set background to white.
Maybe you can add also. Maybe you can also customize the events to open the model, because I think it's also opening when clicking the start button.
Let me check that. Okay, if I open this, you can see here, but we cannot close it. Okay, so I'm gonna add here also a button to close this model. And it's the same that this one, the open one, but we close. Base events model.
Yeah, and in case you want to close the model also when clicking outside of it, you can add the events click out of events, user click out of events model event.
Here, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it also closes it when clicking outside.
User click. Okay. So here we want to close the model when we click close click. Okay, we want to create a new event here to close the history. Just to for that.
Lowercase dl in the close string views.
Yeah, sorry.
To avoid confusion later.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I have to create a new here. Yeah, I'm gonna create here the event to close the history. This is just because if not, we maybe will have problems with different models that works with events. So we want to
remember to change the payload type to void.
Yeah.
And the void is.
So here right now we have this event models that is going to be closed when I select a history query or when I click out of event model. And yeah, here the events model close, there is a button that is going to emit this event. We want to add it here also because we want to close this model when this event happens. So if I go back here and reload this, okay, here I can insert, right, open the history, wait, sorry, if I open the history, here I can see that I have the history queries. I can remove some of them, I can click on them and search it, I can open my history queries. So as you can see here, it's not this final design because there are a lot of difference. But yeah, we want to have at least something similar. Okay, as you maybe missed here, we are not showing the time on the icon here. So let's fix that. Okay, if we go back to the my history component, I will override the default slot. This is the default slot for the history queries that is showing the current query. So here, what we want to show is we want to show the query, and also we want to show the icon, that history icon, this one, and the text, the query, the time, and the icon. So we can do this here, overriding the slot. I mean, we can access here to that slot, like template and suggestion content. Okay. You will have the suggestion, and you can do here whatever you want. In this case, we are going to do it in the slot, just a default value. If not, you can do it here whatever you want with the suggestion. Okay, so let's back to component itself. So what we want here, we want to show the history tiny component. That is the component that we show in the designs. I think that we are importing it. No. Yeah, it's here. It's here. And also we want to show the suggestion query. So this, and also we want to show the new rate. So for that, I'm gonna do it here, but maybe I can create a function that returns this or do it whatever. But anyways, I will do it here to make it faster. We have access to the suggestion. Okay, so we are going to take the timestamp of the suggestion. Okay. And also we are going to format this timestamp. So here we have multiple options. What we are going to do is just to remove the seconds, because as I show you this here, I show you what we are painting right now. Let's check. Okay, so as you can see here, we are painting the icon, but also the time is not right because we are showing the seconds. So for remove that, that's why I'm using these options. And here we can set that we want to show the hour in 2 digits. And also for the minutes, we want to show them by 2 digits. Maybe there is a better way to do this, but I'm gonna do it like this. And then if I allow this, if I open history queries, yeah, we are showing the query and the time. Okay, well, maybe here we can grab them a bit, have a line like the design. Okay, so here we can use our utility classes to achieve that. We want to show it like a vertical list, so we can use xlist and xlist vertical. So with that, the two elements that are inside the div will be shown as a list vertical. Okay, so we almost have the same style. You know, what we want to achieve is only the logic, but we are having almost the same styles. Well, I didn't show you this, but this is the close button, so you can click it there. But I didn't add a name or a title or something here. Close history. Okay, so I think that we have the basic logic that we want to have for this task. That is wrapping or grouping the history queries by date. And yeah, I think that I have to improve one thing here in my history because I didn't do it. Okay, as I said before, here we are hard coding the locale. Okay, but this is not right because we want to format the date based on the location that the user is searching for. So can we change this to be dynamic? Maybe to adapt to the client. If someone is searching from Spain or from France or whatever, we have to be able to achieve that. So how can we do that? We have something that we call the snippet config. That is an object that the client can configure. And this configuration can be read by our components and our application. And in that configuration, the client sets some of the parameters that the application needs to work. For example, there we set the language, we set the scope, I don't know, the catalog, whatever. We use that for setting some variables that maybe we need to use inside the application. So what we can do here is we are going to inject the snippet config. Public snippet config. But here, okay, import this. You can see here, this is what the snippet config has: language, search lang, consent, and we can add whatever we want. Okay. So here we have the snippet config, and what we are going to do is set this locally based on the snippet config. So if I go to the snippet config and set it to lang, here what we are going to do is to format the date by this lang. So if I go back here and reload, you will see that this is going to appear in Spanish. If I open here, as you can see, this is in Spanish because in the base snippet config, that is, I don't know what is this snippet config. Search for it. Config. So we have a file where we set all these. Yeah, I don't know how to get to there. Let me go to components. We have a lot of files, so maybe sometimes I don't know how to find things.
Yeah, it's in views and base config.
Yeah, base config. Yeah, that's it. Here we have some of these configuration. So here we are setting the lang to S. So here, when we are reading this snippet config, we are setting the locale to S. So if I change that to English, this locale will be in English. So this allows us to be flexible with that. So each customer that are using different languages, we are going to show that based on the language that they are using. Okay, so here is English. So I think this is the component that we want to achieve. I mean, we have things to solve here, like we have to add some classes here. Maybe we want to render only if there are history queries. And for that, I don't know if we are on time, Gerardo, because maybe I can follow with the testing. I'm going to do a quick test.
Okay, if you think you can manage to do a quick test in 10 minutes, because we're running out of time, so as you feel.
Yeah, because I have some code that I can copy. So okay, let's go to my history. We already have this testing here. If I run the tests, I think that we are going to have a problem with some of them. Okay. He's thinking, okay. So we are having problems here with two tests because one of them, this is changed because right now we are not showing only a query, we are showing also a time. And right now we are also sending the snippet config. So as you can see here, cannot read property lookup of the findings because when we are mounting the component and we are trying to access to this snippet config, the snippet config is not loaded. So how can we solve that? Here in the wrapper, well, we have a render function. Well, this render is like a factory that is using different parameters that listen to this function to mount the component with different options. Here we can send the provider. I mean, we can provide the snippet config. So I can set here snippet config. With that, we are loading the base snippet config by default. Okay. Base snippet config. Okay, I will import it. So now one of the tests should be working, the last one, because it's the one that is not working because the snippet config. Oh, sorry, my laptop is. Okay, as I said, the problem here that we have is that in the previous test we are checking only that we have a query with an X, and here we are showing that we have a query and the time. So I'm gonna change this test a little bit. Well, I will do some tricks here because I already implemented this code just to do it faster, as Gerardo said, because we only have 2 minutes. Okay, so what we want to test here, we want to test that we are rendering the different dates, and for that dates, we are rendering different history queries. So I'm gonna create this object. Okay, this object is a list of history queries with a timestamp. We already have a factory that can create history queries, but I want to hard code the timestamp to create only 2 dates because the first one and the second one has the same date, and the third one and the fourth one have the same date. So it will create a new structure with 2 dates, and for each of them, it will have, the first one will have these 2, and the second one will have these 2. So, what are we going to do here? We are going to remember my history, that is the function that I mentioned before, and here we can pass some options. We can pass a list of history queries that are the ones that I wrote here. Okay, so here I know that I want to need this find all in wrapper. This is an utility function that we have to find all wrappers. Yeah. What else? Well, what we want to have at the end is something like this. I'm gonna paste it here also. What we want to expect is to have an object that has as key the date, and for each date it will have different queries. So first of all, I have to go here and check what I need to take. So from here, I need to take the history item that is going to be this. Okay, I need to take this list. So for that, I'm going to add here a data test. It's going to be, for example, my history item. So here, using this function, I can get that data test. So for that, I'm gonna do something like this, com history wrappers. Well, let me appropriate that. And I'm gonna take all the elements that match with my history item. So in this line, what we are getting here is the different elements that match with my history team. My history item, sorry. So what we are going to do here, but with this one, we are getting 2 because we are rendering this and this. I can show you later in the console, but I have to go fast. So here we have the wrappers. So what we are going to do here is going to pick the wrappers. Well, I have to change. Yeah. Here I don't know why I are not returning directly the wrappers. So I'm gonna change this to return wrappers. Here, right. Just to remove the wrapper part. Okay, here. So we want to loop through each wrapper. So for that, we're going to create a for each, and for each element, index. What we want to do here is, right now we are taking this element and all that is inside of it. So what we want to check is that this date is the right date that we want to show, and that the queries that we are showing are the right ones. So for that, first of all, I want to pick this date. So I'm gonna add a test here. I'm gonna call it my history date. So here I'm gonna create a past date, and I'm gonna take it. So in the wrapper that we are having now, I'm going to find that element that is my history. History date, and I'm gonna get the text. So with this line, what we are achieving here is I'm taking this element, okay, and I'm getting this text that is right there. So what I'm going to check here is that the keys in the expected result for the current index has to be the data index. Here. Okay. So I'm trying to check that the data I'm getting from this element, the one that we are painting here, is the same that the one that we have in the expected result. Okay. For checking the queries that, well, we have to check the queries for each of these dates. What we are going to do is to check the wrapper also. I'm going to find all the queries. So for that, I'm gonna get the selector, and I have to search here. Let me check if I added data test here. No, data test. I'm gonna add here my history query. So my history query. So here I'm getting all the elements that match with this data test. So I'm going to get these two for the first date, and for the second date I'm going to get these two. So what we are going to do here is go through. I'm going to iterate through these elements because I'm getting more than one. If we have multiple queries. For each of these elements, index, what we want to check here is that for each element that we are taking, we want to check that the text that's like we did here. Okay, so the text that we are printing is this one, level. It's equal to the one that we have here, the text that we have here. So for that, what we are going to do is we're going to get expected result array. We are going to get the current date, okay? Because here we are iterating through the dates, so we are getting the current date. And for that date, we are getting the current index of the queries. So with this, I'm setting here to query. Basically, what we are doing here is getting the query for from this and checking if the right is the one that is printed. So I think that with this we have this test working. Well, we can improve a lot this test because maybe we have to check that we are painting also the timestamp, the time for that query, but we are running out of time. Yeah, so it's working. Yeah, I think that's all for this feature. We have to work a lot to improve all the classes, all the things that we are missing, but we don't have time to do it here. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much, Beltrán. So This was another session of the My History feature. I think we will be back maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks with another piece. And we hope to see you there in a while. So I hope you enjoy it and you know something else from the Interface X project. Thanks, everybody, and bye-bye. See you next
Thanks,
time.
guys.